Alright guys, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we'll be looking at the Greek gift sacrifice. I'll be showing you how to play the Greek gift sacrifice like an expert so that whenever you have this sacrifice looming, you don't hesitate. You just do it and get a completely winning position, if not a checkmate. But before we dive into it, let's look at position where you shouldn't be sacrificing your bishop on that square. First, you want to make sure when you sacrifice your bishop, your knight can land here safely. And in this position, if you sacrifice your bishop, they simply capture, and when you play a move like this, your knight is not landing here safely, as they can just capture the knight. And if you just capture here, they just capture and they are left with a winning position and chilling. In this position, it looks like you have the Greek gift sacrifice. However, there's something you also have to consider. You also have to consider if this square can be defended by your opponent piece after the sacrifice. Like in this position, if you sacrifice the bishop, they simply capture. And when you hop in your knight to give a check, they just go back, and when you hop in your king trying to set up the Greek gift, they just hop in the bishop, and the bishop is protecting that square, and there's no Greek gift sacrifice. You are just completely losing. And this one is simply straightforward. When this square is defended, if you just sacrifice there, they just capture this way and they are chilling. So you can't do that. So let's dive into the Greek gift sacrifice. You sacrifice the bishop. Yeah, notice this. They are left with two options: either move the king or capture here. We are going to examine what you do if they play any of those moves. The most popular move you are going to see is capturing here. Then the knight hops in, and the knight is hopping in safely. They can decide to capture the knight, and you just capture here, and you are just left with a completely winning position. So they are left with several other options. They can move here, they can move here, and they can move here or here. Moving to this square or this square is a better try from your opponent. Moving to this square or this square is just losing on the next move. If they move to this square, you just hop in your knight here, and that's a discovered attack on the king, and you are just picking up the queen on the next move and completely winning. And if they decide to move here, you hop in your queen with a check on the king. The king is forced to step away, and this move is just a checkmate. So let's look at a good try from black. They can play a move like this. What do? You simply hop in your queen, threatening to deliver checkmate on the next move. And the only move for black to keep the game going is rook to e8. In this position, you don't want to give this check and go in this way. You are still completely winning, but it's very tricky. So instead, what you do is to capture here with check. The king is forced to step into the square. Then comes this move again, check. The king is forced to step backward, and notice this, we have similar position except that this pawn is no longer chilling here. So we give this check. The king is forced to step into the square as this knight is controlling the square. Then we give this check. The king is forced to step into the square, and this move is just a beautiful checkmate. Let me show you the reason why you have to capture here first, because if you give this check, the king just step away, and when you give this check, the king can step into the square. And when you capture this pawn, notice this, in the previous variation where I showed you, when you capture this pawn, it was checkmate because this pawn was not here. But in this variation, it's not checkmate because this pawn is sitting here and helping the king out. Although you are completely winning, but it's really tricky, and you don't have to get into any of this variation if you have checkmate looming already. Alright, so let's look at the better try from your opponent, which is very tricky. In this position, we have looked at this, and this. What if they play this move? You can give this check. You can give this check, and you can play a move like this. If you have not yet castled, I would strongly recommend you play this move. And what's the idea behind this move? The idea behind this move is to give this check and force the king into this square, or force the king into this square. If the king moves into this square, this is just checkmate in one. And if the king moves into this square, you remember we just hop in our knight here, and it's just a discovered check on the king, and on the next move we just pick up their queen, and we are completely winning. So what can black do to stop this check? Well, they can do absolutely nothing, because if they move their rook here trying to support this square, we still move the pawn forward. And notice this, we have a queen looking at this square, and we also have a rook supporting this square. And if they just give up their rook, we just capture, and checkmate is just coming in a few moves. So black can try to play a move like this. We proceed to give our check, and the king is forced into one of these square. I showed you if the king moves into this square, that's just checkmate in one. So the king is forced into this square. Then comes this move, and that's just a double check and a discovered check on the king. And the king is forced to move somewhere, and on the next move we pick up the queen, and we are left with a completely winning position. Assuming you have already castled and they decide to play the king to this square, instead of moving here with the threat of just going forward, I strongly recommend you play this move. And what's the idea behind this move? The idea behind this move is simple. Open a discovered attack on the king, and black can try a move like this, hitting the queen, saying if you decide to open a discovered attack on my queen, I just simply capture your queen, and it's just an equal trade. What do? We simply step away, still keeping the threat alive. And notice this, the king can't go anywhere. This square and this square is defended by this our knight, And this, if they move to this square, they just walk into what? Into our discover check. So what can they try? They can try to just push forward. We simply capture, and if they sacrifice the rook, it changes nothing, and we have checkmate looming, and we are just completely winning in this position. If black tries to be streaky and play a move like this and say, okay, if you open a discovered attack on me, there's no queen sitting here, and there's no good way for you to open a discovered attack on me and win my queen. Instead, you can only win my rook. Well, that's even worse because we have this discovered attack on the king. And notice this knight is looking at this square, and we are threatening checkmate, and the best move for black is just to give up their queen this way, and it still doesn't solve anything as checkmate is just coming on the next move. If your opponent decide not to capture him and play a move like this, what do? You just open your knight, and what can they try? In this position, the threat is just to go here and deliver checkmate. If your opponent is not paying attention and play something very random, you just go here, and on the next move, you just move your bishop, and checkmate is just coming here. So they have to find a move like this, and what do here? You play a move like this. And in this position, what are you threatening? You are just threatening to go here, and you just have a completely winning position. If you have made it this far into the video, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. And if you think there's a variation that I missed and I did not cover, just suggest it. Maybe I'll make another video on the Greek gift sacrifice. Thank you. I'm out, and keep finding good tactics in your games.